The current spoiler warning level is Crimson.
Friends and folks, for this episode, you're looking at a spoiler warning level of Crimson. It's Iron-Blooded Orphans, IBO. So that's in the future of the Great Gundam Project. They're not there yet. And it's throughout the show, so it's spoilers. Please enjoy the episode. Hello, friends and folks, and welcome back to another episode of Mechanista in G. I wonder if we should add friggin', oh no, Brain. It's a new Gundam.
G-Clux?
Yeah, I wonder if we should add a G-Clux thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the show's done now, so, I usually want to wait until the show is done, but it is done, seemingly. So,
yeah.
I guess, yeah, probably would at some point.
It's also weird they didn't add a tab to, well, is it a spoiler to say? There's a machine from that, There is a very minor machine that never was used in anything in normal Gundam that is very significantly used in G-Clux, and yet if you go to the page, there's no, G-Clux tab. It's weird they didn't do that.
Oh, really?
It's probably just them being behind, but...
Oh, no, they did, because I know what the problem is. For the machine,
yeah, I know what they did too. Okay, obviously, yes. Huh. Yeah. Alright, sure, that makes sense.
I still think they should both be on the same article under different tabs, but I see how this happens. But in my opinion, even though the articles would technically have different names, I think you would still want them to be together, so you're still right there, but, I see how this happens. Anyway, hey.
Yeah, no, you think about it for a second more, and you're like, oh, obviously, this is what's happening here.
But then also, they should still fix it.
They should still, yeah.
And then people will say, and no one, I doubt any of our listeners will say this, they'll be like, well, it's a wiki, you can fix it, and I'm like, I haven't got time for that.
It's, so, my job, right? Mm-hmm. I work at a big box retailer. Yeah. I have been there for 7 years, and I have been told in evaluations I'm one of the best employees, right? So it's not just me being a dick when I'm like, I do a better job than most of the people there, right? Mm-hmm.
Or you could be like me, where I also get that feedback, and I still go, I'm the worst worker, I'm awful, but that's because I'm me. Yeah, I mean, you work from home in isolation, and sometimes there's not, Yeah, you can't really compare yourself. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah,
I'm working at a store that is not doing well, right? Yeah. We're not, in trouble of shutting down because it's a big enough business that's not really how this works, but it is a case where it's a store where it is dysfunctional. And there are two things about this. One is, in theory, if I am walking to go do something else and I see a problem, I should stop and fix it, right?
Oh, yeah.
If I did that, I would never do my actual job. My entire job would be stopping and fixing things. I would never make it.
Exactly.
I would do that for 8 hours because we're such a mess. And then the other thing is, so that's the one part of, if I fix the wiki, I would never have to stop fixing the wiki. Yeah. I would always be fixing the wiki.
I think in the past I've brought up a similar excuse for myself where I'm like, the problem is I will start, because I have fixed some things on there in the past, and then I realize, I have to keep doing this to every one of these articles, and that's going to eat hours and hours and hours of my time. And I just do not
And the other part of it is, because, there is stuff that'll happen where it's okay, here is a real example, right? Paper towels. We sell paper towels, right? Mm-hmm. You want to buy a pack of 6 paper towels, right? Mm-hmm. And the spot fits 20, right? It's also on a high shelf. You have to reach a little bit. If you're short, you might need to ask for help, right?
Yeah, which means...
Which means, yeah?
I was just like, wait. No. I was like, wait, you can only fit 20 on there, but they're in packs of 6, so that would be 18 per shelf. Right?
No, that would be There would be 20 packs of 6.
Oh, 20 packs
so
of 6. Sorry, I misinterpreted that as there's only room for a total of 20, roughly. I was like, wait a minute.
No.
Logistics in my brain.
Yeah, that's not how it... But because people at my job don't do their job right and there's no accountability, if you bring product out, it is way more slow to then have to put everything back away in the back that doesn't fit. So they will instead put 50 in that spot.
Oh, no.
And the way they do it is by stacking higher and higher. And they have created this tower that if you try and take anything will fall on your head. They're paper towers, they won't kill you. But, like, it's a disaster.
But I mean, that just creates a new mess, yeah.
Right, and if I fix it, it'll just be back again tomorrow. So, like, if I go into the Gundam Wiki, there are some changes that I could make and they would just be fixed. But there's also some, like, style changes or some, like, hey, there shouldn't be fan art on here, that if I change them, give it a month, the fan art will come back. Yeah. So, what's the point?
That was my experience, is I removed fan art, I removed dumb memes that were used in the middle of the article, etc. And I was just like, okay, I got rid of all this is fine, and... then I see that it just pops up on new articles that where it wasn't on there before, which means there are people actively creating the problem, which means it's like, well, at that point, I'm like, I can't, I'm not a mod, I'm not going to be able to just ban everyone. At that point, I may as well just make my own website, and I'm not doing that. So, yeah, I'm 5'4". I really hope they wouldn't put that big of a tower. I would be under all of them.
Yeah.
I already have the problem where
you would simply buy a different thing of paper towels.
We have a shelf in the kitchen that usually the cereal goes on top of, and I am too short to reach the top of the shelves, so I either have to jump to like grab the edge of the little bag and slightly nudge it towards the edge, or get someone else to help me because I'm short. I'm the only short person in this house, unfortunately. So, but yeah. Anyway, dice time.
Yeah. So I already rolled. It's the listener request.
Okay.
I'm gonna see if I can get a bigger picture of this thing, because the snippet would be too small for our purposes.
Okay.
MAHQ, can you help me out? Chris, you got me?
If that's possible.
That's a good point. I don't know if it'll be on MAHQ.
Oh, wait, so is it not a Gundam thing? See, I
or
can't
am
tell.
I fucking with you?
God damn it.
Okay,
yeah, I see. You're talking out of both sides. I see what you're doing.
Okay, yeah, that is a bigger picture. Thank you, Chris. This is a request from Sam, your roommate.
Oh, okay. Ooh.
There you go.
Ooh, this is familiar. This is very familiar. You'd think the colors would give it away immediately, because these are, like, unique colors for a design. Not to mention, if it's Sam... I mean, when I know who the requester is, it starts making it a lot easier generally. But this one, I'm like,
It was requested quite a while ago, and it was a reaction to some of our coverage, so that's part of what could throw you off.
Okay. Looking at that. Like, the art looks more modern. This looks like this would be something that's, like, in, like, late 2010s, early aughts for the design. Can I get a little bit more?
Sure. If you're a quitter, I guess I can help you out. There you go. There's a little more.
The thing that is really getting me is, like, this white part on the side skirt, or on the side of the leg there. And I'm like, this feels like I should know what this is.
I mean, I guess you're not a real Transformers fan.
This is not a Transformer. No, this is definitely...
I didn't say it was. But...
Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna mix up which one is which. Is this the Hyakuri or the Hyakuren?
This is the Hyakuren.
Okay. The colors and then the side skirt thing or in the side of the leg thing there, that's what gave it away, is like I just focused on that, like, what designs have that shape? I'm like, okay, it's gotta be something weird, and if I remember right, this is what is it, Shinohara, I believe, is the designer for this one? Let me double check. Does MHQ have...
yes.
Okay, yeah. And Shinohara is an interesting guy. We haven't really talked about... I mean, the only other designs of his we've talked about his are also IBO designs he did. You know? But he's done other work. It's just not stuff that we have ever covered. But yeah, so... Alright, yeah, the Hyakuren. I am actually surprised. You know what? It's a good point. I'm surprised we haven't covered this.
That turned out huge.
So, yeah, the Hyakuren. This is a mobile suit from Gundam IBO. This is used by the Teiwaz organization. Hence, the frame up there is just the Teiwaz frame, because all the suits within the organization use that. I'm trying to think, we've covered... Have we covered any... we've covered the Hyakuri, right? We did do that.
Yeah.
Did we do the Hekaja also? I forget.
I think we did.
Let me look. So, when we covered the Hyakuri, which was a listener request, we covered the Hekaja and the Callisto. Okay, yeah. Because the Hekaja is just kind of based on both the Hyakuri and the Hyakuren, so could have been a coin flip for that. And yeah, so, this is a weird machine. It is, like, very rounded and this is a unique design. And the thing I would say about Shinohara's design aesthetic is he is a unique designer, with how he designs these things. So, I guess just to describe it, starting with the head, for the head, we've got speaking of unique, this is a very weird head. So, the top of the head is basically divided into two sections. You have an upper half that is mostly in the blue, and then the lower half that's in this sort of like grayish color. So for the upper half of the head, it is a head that has it's not quite a triangle, but like a sort of triangular, like flat point on the top of it that divides the face down the middle. Like it's got a hard edge going down the middle of the face there. And then as you go, and then the back of the head, it just kind of sweeps back almost like, I don't even know how I would describe this shape-wise. It just sweeps back kind of far, from the front. And
it looks Warframe-ish.
Yeah. The head has a bit of panel lining going on with it, around the top of it. It also has these deep cuts in the side, and these cuts, they're really hard to see. They're basically invisible in the sete. You can see them here in these closer up pictures of the head. They do have eyes in these. They're very small, though. Very small little glowing sensors inside of these cuts in the face. And yeah, it just sweeps back in this very organic way. The back of the head ends kind of flat. Like towards the bottom of it, it just has a big flat, like, wedge for the bottom of the back of the head. No, like, cameras or anything else on the head. So the head is mostly just shape, right? The only real, like, thing in there is the embedded eyes. But other than that, there's, like, no, like... that's the thing that makes it feel weird, is it's just all armor that is just, shaped. But it's not, like, there's no, like, cameras, there's no V-fin, there's no antenna or anything. And then for the lower half of the head, around the cheeks you have these circular parts, and then around those you have some armor that continues forward into the front of the head where there's a chin. And then the armor for the upper half has a cut below it where the chin is sticking out from. and then the chin has, like, these little vent cuts in the sides of it. But, like, that's the thing, right, is it's just a really weird... It is a unique head. It is kind of weirdly simple. Comparing it to, like, the Hyakure, which we covered, like, the Hyakure also is kind of a weird head, but at least, like, it has, like, the 5 eyes embedded in it, so it's like, okay, there's something more to talk about here. Here it's just, this head's like just a giant, like, feels almost like you carved out a clay head or something.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. And the reason I bring up the clay analogy is because, if I could find it real quick, the way that he comes up with the head shapes, actually, for his suits is wild. So I'm gonna pull that up before I continue on, just because it's relevant to the head here. I've got the Mechanical Works book open. I just need to find the section for Tomotsu Shinohara. Here he is. So when he's designing the heads for these machines, he goes through a lot of phases of just... You can see he's just doing things here. This is actually for a related machine. This is for the Rouei, but we'll be talking about the Rouei soon. But you can see his process is... He just kind of, like... It feels like someone, like, molding and remolding clay to me or something, right? Like... Because he keeps, like, these similar shapes and details and just kind of goes through them, like... Just with a whole ton of different drafts for the heads here. It's just unique, Like, we've seen early heads on like, various Gundam designs, but usually, like, those early heads are connected to the body, I guess, instead of just drafting, like, here's 10 billion different heads and I'm gonna pick one of them. It just makes this machine feel really unique, and his designs feel really unique in that way. Moving on to the torso, the torso of the machine here is, so you've got these big blocky parts around the collar area. They kind of pop up pretty high on either side, around, like, the neck. Around the base of the head where it's connected into, there's also, like, a bit of a collar, though, that's more embedded. You have a little wedge of darker blue armor on the front middle of the chest. This wedge has, like, a little triangle in the middle of it, and then, 2, like, white wedges of armor going around at an angle out of that. And those continue into the back of the torso. You get a bit more of the lighter blue armor below that, and then you get some, like, gray inner frame armor as, like, for, like, the body there. And that's, like, you can see on the inner frame, that's a consistent part of all the Teiwaz designs. Which, it's interesting, because I was about to say, which I think he does all the Teiwaz designs, but he doesn't, because the Shiden is by Ippei, even though it uses the same inner frame, which is, so it's not like only one artist designed on this frame. Just interesting thing to think about. And you also have 2 visible pistons going into the waist as well. Then moving on to the shoulders. Huge shoulders. They've got sort of a rounded design around the top of them. You've got these triangular cutouts in the middle of them, similar to the one that's in the middle of the chest armor there. At the very top of the armor, you've got these, like, almost...
They've got the Magitech armor exhaust, yeah.
But the thing is, they're not open on the top, right? They're closed. They're just, like...
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, they're just, like, big cones sticking out of the top of the shoulders there. Which is just... It's just weird. It's a unique shape. I'm, like, looking through his arcs, and I'm like, did he have any plans for these? And no, the design just has these. Which is just, there's just these big... Because they're not part of the frame. As you can see, the Teiwaz frame doesn't have, armor, like shoulder armor. It's just got the basic underparts. And not to mention, this is the only suit out of the whole Teiwaz frame that does that. So yeah, it's got these, just like these large cylinder sticking out of the top of it. You have... I believe these are thrusters on the outside of the armor, and then you've got some blue armor, like lighter blue armor that goes around the bottom of the thrusters there. Like I said, really overall unique shapes going on here for this. Even when we get to the arms, because so for the biceps, they've got a couple of layers going on. You've got gray armor on the front of the bicep, covering the front and upper parts. for the middle of the armor, you've got this blue armor, and it's a little hard to see in this art, but the blue armor is a little thicker. You can see it, and here's like a little close-up of it from the art book I'm in. You can see that the blue armor is a little thicker, so it kind of has this nice little like divot between that gray frontal piece and then the blue. And then on the back, it's just got like a block of white armor on the back of it, or like, you know, light gray, I should say, armor plugged into the back of it. Just like a very detailed bicep. Again, it's very detailed, but like, kind of like I mentioned with Shinohara's designs, he does a lot of detail, but it's not like stuff that implies function in the same way, I guess, that we usually get with, like, especially like an IBO. Like, other than like the thrusters and the shoulder, it's like, this is just all armor. It's just shapely, you know? And then for the joint, you've got a very thin little joint for the arm here. It's a double, it's two hinges for the joint. It's not like a normal double joint. You've got a hinge there and then a hinge there. And then you've got some armor around the back of it. The connection for these arms is very thin, which is unique, but I think it's kind of cool. And then the forearm, same thing. It's all armor, but it's put around in like a unique way. You've got a lot of gray going down you have the grayer armor going down the middle of the forearm on the top. And then, you know, it kind of pops up like around the base of it and then thins out towards the bottom where it goes to the wrist. You've got blue armor going around the sides, and then in the sort of elbowish position, you also have more of those like white blocks similar to the bicep, just connected into the back of the arm there. And then, because the arms and stuff are thick, even though it's got like the same size IBO hands, the hands look kind of small on this. Because it's just, this thing's got weird proportions, you know? The arms kind of stick out pretty far, and then they, like, you can see there's a big gap between, like, the arm and the torso there. And you can see that on the frame, too. The arms actually stick out pretty far from the torso. Just interesting shapes. Again, there's not, like, any kind of, like, it's not like this has, you know, these little blocks are not, like, a clip for anything. These are just armor. Which is just, you know, interesting, because you would see, like, a block like that in the back of an elbow, and you would assume, oh, does this have, like, a grenade launcher in the wrist or something like that? Is that, like, an ammo block? No, it's just armor. It's just different colors of armor. Then we move on to the waist. For the waist, we've got you've got a lighter blue piece on the top, like, kind of as, like, almost like above skirt, where the torso is connected into. Then you've got darker blue around the front. The dark blue piece has like a divot in the middle of it, like a deep cut in the middle of it going horizontal, in like a circular sort of shape. The shape is weird. This guy uses shapes that are hard for me to describe. Like, you know, you look at the shoulders or you look at this armor for like the crotch piece here, and it's like, it's shapes, I just don't know how I would describe them. It's rounded, but it's got like a flat part on top. It's got this, you know, like divot in the middle here, and then it kind of like, this guy does weird shapes. That's how I can put it best. Out of this middle crotch piece, going towards the back, similar, these kind of mirror the ones that are in the torso. It's got these two giant wedges of white armor that go around towards the back, and you know, they're on the upward angles, so they are just, you know, like I said, basically a mirror of the ones going on with the torso here. Those continue towards the back. The side skirts are huge, and they aren't your typical side skirts. They're like almost, they feel much more like normal folds, like on like medieval armor, than a lot of side skirts in Gundam tend to feel like, because they like are rounded and they go around like the leg. Like the front and the back of the skirt armor is around, you know, the front and back of the leg there. And they're huge skirts, and as you go towards the bottom of them, one of the things that gave this design away from me especially when we zoomed out, is these skirts end in these large, like, double thrusters at the end of them. Then for the rear skirt, you've got, again, it's kind of an odd shape, because you've got this, like, almost like a tail thruster coming out of it that's like a square thruster, and it's got these, like, little bits of armor that flare up out of the sides like little wings that are protecting the back of the legs. Just weird skirts. And then not to keep using the word weird, but look at these fucking legs. These are gigantic. This guy's got huge thighs. The thigh armor is weird, though, because in order to accommodate for the side skirt, the top of the armor is, like, pressed in more, and then it pops out, like, at the halfway point of the thigh to then, expand outward. And you've got, like, these large blue embedded knee parts. The knee parts are also very tellingly in the thighs rather than in the, normally the lower leg is where the knee is connected into, but no, these are, all this extra armor and stuff is part of the thigh. And the thighs also have, on the outside of them, you have these two little thrusters on the sides. Kind of a weird joint. It's set back a little bit. You can see it a little better with the frame, but, double leg joint, but it's just the lower legs are set back more than the thighs. The thighs are very forward-facing even when they're just in a frame. And then the lower legs, they thin out a bit. You've got sort of a knee armor. Again, it's weird because it's much smaller and overtaken by the part that is in the thigh that looks much more like your typical Gundam knee armor. But it does have like a little bit of this dark blue armor as like a little triangle sticking out that it's flat at the end for the lower leg. And then you've got these little scoops on the front sides of the leg on either part of the calf. And then on the very back, you've got a hexagonal cutout with a little thruster in there. Then as you move down, there's like no ankle armor or anything. These sides of the leg armor do reach down to the sides of the feet there, like where they're connected into. And then the feet are just like a gray block. You've got a little frontal foot piece and then a rear heel. Kind of more typical for that. And then for the backpack, you've got, I didn't mention it, but the back of the collars has a white bar of armor connecting both halves of the backpack here. You've got, like, the visible, I assume this is the AHAB reactor, because that's, like, what it is on the grays, and it's got, like, the rounded, visible parts there. And then you've got these little verniers, just little thrusters on either side, and they have a bit of little bit of armor on the bottom of them, like, covering out a bit further. This is a fucking weird design. I'm sorry to keep using the word, but, like, it's hard to describe because on one hand, it is simple. This mobile suit doesn't have any built-in weapons. It doesn't have any built-in, like, special features. It's just a mobile suit with armor and thrusters. But it's just weird. The shapes are weird.
It's, like, distinctly mecha in a lot of elements, but a lot of the shapes feel more like Dark Souls armor.
Yeah, it feels much more like someone designed armor. Like, some people will say that about, like, a lot of humanoid mecha in Gundam, and I believe I've even described, like, sometimes it does feel like someone's just designing a guy in armor, but truly, this is a design that feels like a guy in armor.
It's also one of the coolest designs for any grunts in IBO. This is great.
Mm-hmm. Here's his colors for it, by the way, from the page in the book. Just because even though it's ostensibly the same unit, he does a very different, unique color scheme. It's purple and brown.
Yeah, like a periwinkle.
It's very cool. I like this a lot.
Oh, with like bright, like sea blue arms. Wait, what a weird choice.
Gray, all the gray on the base design, instead of it being inner frame gray for this whole, like, for, like, the inner frame on the chest there and for those parts. Because that's the thing, it's like the frame is all the same colors, right? But on his design, he makes it so, like, some of the frame parts are blue and then some of them are just the gray, and it's interesting. Very weird choice, but I like his colors a lot for it. Yeah, I like this design. I know a lot of people do not. This is a design that's not super popular in the show. I think this design's great. To talk about its weapons, before we move on to, like, talking about, like, earlier versions of it and whatnot, we've got, you've got them shown there, the gun. I've got some other art of them, too, from the book here. Here's some color art of the machine gun. The machine gun's also a very weird design. There's no... So... It's got a handle in the middle of it, where it grabs onto. That's normal. It doesn't really have, like, a normal stock, because you can see it there. It's got, like, a weird... The stock can fold, but, like, the way it folds, it makes the gun just look like it doesn't have a stock when it's folded, which is interesting. And it's just, like, rounded, and it's, like... I don't know. It's a weird-looking gun. right? Like, nothing about it is specifically unique, but, like, it's got a small handle, it's got, like, a big barrel, it's got a huge banana clip in there.
Well, you say huge, it's very long, it's pretty slender, interestingly.
Yeah, it is thin. And then it's got, like, this optional stock that can pop back that's, like, on a square telescopic part, but when it's folded in there, it, like, just makes the gun look like a weird gun with no stock, and, like, that almost looks like a shoulder, like, where you would rest, like, obviously you wouldn't, because that's where the grip is, but, like, if this was, like, a bazooka and the grip was, like, here, that looks like a part that would rest on your shoulder or something, because, it's a stock, so it is a rest, but, when it's popped in there and it's, like, at an angle like that. Also,
instead I think it's the part you'd press into your forearm.
The other part
this is laid out.
Is if you look at the top, you can see it firing, and you can see that in your art too. This actually has, like, a slide mechanism. So the whole top...
Pretty unusual for...
It slides
for
back,
mecha.
and it even has the thing where, I mean, like, like a real gun where that's the ejection port. Yep.
Yeah.
And the reason it slides back, and when it slides into the position, it ejects the empty casing. It's actually put together more like a real gun than a lot of guns in Gundam tend to be, which is funny.
Well, you say that, like, this style of, like, slide on a, like, rifle is weird.
I guess that's true, but it is...
This is a pistol design that's big.
Yeah, and it's even called it is the 100mm rifle cannon, because it is not a rapid-fire weapon, this is a thump rifle, which, to be fair, a lot of weapons in IBO they tend to go more with, like, heavy-hitting, more, like, semi-automatic to single-shot rifles, rather than, automatic machine guns and stuff. You just don't get those as often. Another interesting weapon that this has is it has a single-edged blade for its melee weapon, which looks like this. And you can see there's the like, optional sheath for it as well. I believe, is this stored on the rear? Oh no, it can be stored on the rear skirt armor or on the backpack. So yeah, and then the knife just plugs into the sheath, and the sheath holds it in place, and then when it grabs it, the sheath can eject the blade. And yeah, it's a little single-edged knife, right? It's got a little roundish handle. It's got a knuckle guard on the front to protect the fingers, theoretically. And then it's a single-edged blade. There's not a lot to it.
Yeah.
It's a cool-looking little knife, but yeah, little knife.
The handle is very heavily built in a way that's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, just pull it up real quick while you're talking about it. Yeah, like, the base of it has, like, these, like, little thick triangular, like, almost like bricks of armor there.
You can almost imagine that, like, there was consideration for the idea that you might want to smash with the handle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It does feel like it might be, like, done for punching or something, or just hitting with. This mentions let's see, the JEE-203 knuckle guards. Let me see these knuckle guards. Hold on. Do we have art of these in use at all on, like, the wiki or anywhere? Okay, yeah, here we are. On the wiki. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, these are not... I don't remember it using these in the show. I thought the sides of the skirt things were thrusters. These were not thrusters. These are punchies with electrical output at the end. That's what those are. I don't know does it use those in the show? I legitimately do not remember that.
Not to my memory, no.
Hell, in the show, even when I've got, like, a frame here of one of the battles, you can see they don't even draw the little jets on the bottom of it. That's just, like, armor, the way it's drawn there. But yes, yeah, no, those are supposed to be able to pop out, and they're little punch knuckles with, like, electrical discharge capabilities. That's cool.
Huh. Yeah?
And then there's also a 4-barreled rocket launcher, which I think, let me see, that is unfortunately not on the wiki. I think that's one of the ones that came with, like, the weapon packs for the kits,
Sure, there's
a
not the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher's a different
there's a
one.
revolving grenade launcher that I have some good art for, but not the 4-barrel one. I'm popping on to Dalong real quick because he has all the weapon packs, because I'm 95% certain this is, like, a weapon pack thing, because it's just what that feels like to me. I'm looking through it real quick, just in case. Those are the Grays ones. The weapon packs make it kind of weird because there's a lot of random weapon pack ones.
Sure.
Oh, yes, okay, yes, here it is. It is also the same one that the Hyakuren can use. Trying to find a good view of it from here, but you can see it in the Hyakuren's left hand here. You can see it's just a big boxy grenade launcher. It's got like a stock with like it looks like it would like depress. It looks like these are like probably like shock absorbers or something, you know, for when it pops back. And it's just got four tubes with rockets in them, and a big knuckle guard on the bottom of that too to protect the hand and whatnot. So yeah, and then yeah, you put it there, and then here's a color image of it. It's got this weird grenade launcher. So funny thing with these grenade launchers, these little parts that can like pop down here and stuff, are also for I mentioned like, you know, the Hyakuren has these or can use these. It's got these like little parts that can fold in order to hook onto. God damn it! Replace the existing image. There we go. You can see it hooks onto the backpack with Actually, no. Here it's using the handle. That's interesting because it mentions. I think it mentions. Oh no, it doesn't say it there. Okay, never mind. I misread that. I was curious if this was used for that. I don't know what this is for. This little clippy bit at the end.
It's just for pinching your friends.
This is such a weird gun. I like it though. This one's cool because I mean a revolving bazooka is always fun, or a revolving grenade launcher, I should say. Any kind of revolving weapon is always fun, and this is a big revolving weapon because it's a grenade launcher, so I think it's cool. But yeah. And then, okay, yeah, that's it for its equipment. I'm trying to see if there's any other things to mention. Okay, yeah, we actually have, so with the art here, just to pull it up for the video, other things we can see is that the side skirt armor is meant to be able to pop open a bit, and it can store like ammo in there. You can see extra clips for the guns there, so that's interesting. Then yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the one extra thing I can find is that it can store, you know, clips of ammo in the side skirt there if that pops down. It also shows the way the armor is supposed to pop off for the knuckle guard. Anything else? Oh, the cockpit hatch on this guy is weird. That's another thing to bring up. So, the door pops forward pretty significantly. You can see there. Like, this whole door just shoves forward very far, which is just not the usual way. Usually you have a door that just folds down or something. Instead, this one just pushes out really far, which is interesting. And trying to see anything else for it. No, not really. Yeah, this is a weird machine. It's used by... Oh, I guess we should talk about it. There's one other color scheme, because this is used by two characters. This is used by both Amita, and then this is also used by Ozzy. And Ozzy's is the blue one, and then Amita has a special one that is pink. As we can see here. Pink and like sort of a... What would you call that? Like a maroon? Or burgundy? Burgundy. That's the red-brown color, right?
Burgundy's good. Yeah. Burgundy's good.
Yeah, I was like, what's the red-brown color again like that? Like, because it's not... You know, it's like a really dark pink, basically. But it feels brown because dark red is, you know, brownish. But yeah. Anyway, good colors on hers. I like hers a lot. I mean, I like both. Honestly, the coolest colors are, funnily, his original art with, like, the weird colors, in my opinion. But, yeah. Oh, they put Amita's in a separate article. That's why. Okay. I was wondering why it wasn't on the wiki. I was confused. It's because hers gets her own article. One other thing, just to state it, I think the eyes are really cool on this. Having the weird little circular eyes just hanging out in, like, the little divots like that is really cool. This is art from G-Gen Crossrays, but you can see, you know, especially because of the exaggerated proportions, you can see the glowy eyes in there, which is cool. I like them. This is a neat machine. It doesn't get a lot of showing, really, but it's a cool machine. And we've got plenty of related units. I think we'll talk about the animated one first before we get into, like, the weird non-animated one, which would be the STH-05R Rouei. which is the Hyakuren, but for Earth. Let's see. I'm trying to get better art than the wiki would have, actually. I'm just gonna, you know what, here's a good thing, because it'll also have the guns on it. I'm just gonna post this art for everyone. There we go. Good quality, and it has all the stuff, so...
Yeah.
So this design, changes quite a bit. Like, it... Ostensibly, it says that it's meant to be, like, a refit of the Hyakuren, but because this is IBO, it just changes all the armor on the frame, so this is almost entirely a new design. It's got a couple of shared parts, but not very many at all. So, starting with the head has changed significantly. The head is taller now, and it doesn't go back as far, like, front to back. It still has the same, like, chin and, like, side part, but then another new thing is it has this mask on the front that has 4 embedded little yellow eyes in it, 2 on either side, and then it's got a hard edge on the front of it dividing the 2 halves of the head. And then you also have a wider triangular piece on the top that's like the same color as the chin. Moving on to the torso. So the torso is the part that is mostly retained, which makes sense because, you know, it's on the same overall frame. The main thing that changes is the collar sections now have vents on the top or on the front of them. And the vents have like bright yellow flaps on the inside of them. But it still has, you know, the triangular piece with the big wedges. The triangular piece, though, is, I think, let me double check, is it slightly different in shape? Yes! So, whereas the triangular piece with the 2 wedges of armor on the Hyakuren is, like, flat when facing forward, this armor is angled upward, like the triangle is on the top of it. And so, it's... Even though, like, the wedges are the same idea, it's actually a completely different, like, mounting mechanism for them, which is interesting. And then the, you know, cockpit hatch and the pistons and whatnot are all the same, because that's just the Teiwaz frame. The shoulders are now new. Simpler armor for the shoulders here. Still pretty thick. Has, like, the quality of layering to it, because, like, you have the base armor around it, which the front of it has this, sort of like, how would I even describe? I don't know how to describe the shape. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a.
It's a really simple armor plate. It's just like
I know, but I want to
flat shoulder armor plate with a large notch.
Yeah, and then it's got like a triangular. It's got the triangular piece in the middle of it, and then you can see that behind that though, there's just some basic square armor going on too. So it's just got like this nice layered look to the armor. Also has a bit of armor like. That sticks down here, from, oh, no, that's actually, sorry, that was the backpack, I was misreading that, yeah, so, and then moving on to the bicep is actually pretty similar, but it gets rid of the little white block on the back, but it's still got, like, the, you know, the brownish armor on the front, and then the blue armor behind it, just gets rid of the block in the back. The joint is the same. The forearms have a similar design, but instead of having the little cube on the back of the elbow, it now has these large circular cylinders, kind of like the ones that were on the shoulder of the Hyakuren. So it just changes from a cube to a cylinder, which is fun. Same tiny hands. The waist is the same for the... Well, no, it's not, because this part has changed. Like the crotch is... doing a similar thing in that it's got these large wedges going around in, like, you know, as a mirror of the shoulder, or of the torso. But the shape is different. It thins out a bit more. And then for the side skirts, it doesn't actually have big side skirts. This actually has... The side skirts continue around towards the back, and it's almost like a skirt that goes around the sides and back. It's like it's all... You can see where there's separation, where it can move if necessary. But when at rest, it's like all just like one big skirt going in a semicircle around the body. And then the rear skirt, you don't have the big boxy thruster on the back. Instead, it's much more flat. Still has like a little nozzle in the back middle bottom of it, but it's just not a big square for that. It's a lot more flat now. For the legs, you can see a lot more of the joints going on here. You can see the pistons going into the thighs here. You can see, you know, visible joint there. You've got some triangular armor on the top. Well, it's shaped like an animal claw or something, right? Like it's not really like, it's like a rounded triangular piece going around the top here.
Yeah.
And then you've got some thick thigh parts going around the sides there. The armor thickens on the outside a bit. And then it thins out when you hit towards where the joint is. You still have, instead of, again, it's not connected to the knee, it's connected to the thigh, but you have like the large plate that sticks out here that feels like it would be knee armor on a more standard design. You can see the joint, like, visible, like, rotation area sticking out of the sides there. You can see just these big caps. And then the lower legs thin out a bit. They have these little bars of armor on the sides. And then you've got a big cuff of leg armor. And then the big cuff actually has a bunch of thrusters facing downward, because this thing, it does the dom movement, it does, like, the hovering movement, so, you know, it's got a bunch of thrusters in the little bell bottom here. Basically. And then it's got these really weird feet, which are, like, large. They've got like a little bit of armor at the base of the foot where it's connected in, and then you've got a huge toe piece going around the front, and then you've got a big heel, and the heel is a bit more squared, and then has, like, it kind of pops up at the end of it. Really big, weird, round feet. And then for the backpack, instead of having the two small thrusters, this actually has two larger thruster pods on it. They kind of remind me either of, like, some... They're not really shaped like the tall geeses, but, you know, they're two big vernier, like, pods, basically, on either side of the backpack here. You know, either tall geese, Sinanju, etc. style. And they've got a little flappy door on the top that is able to move around, and then you've got a large piece of armor directing flow at the bottom of it, and then big thrusters embedded in them. And this is the design I really like. I kind of want to mix elements of this with the Hyakuren, admittedly, because, like, I like the backpack on this design a lot. I like these thrusters a lot. I like the skirt more on the Hyakuren because I like the weird boxy thing. And I like the shoulders more on the Hyakuren. I like this head a lot, though, admittedly, just because I like the weird mask look. This is a bizarre design. This shows up more near the end of the series, and it also doesn't really get a lot of showing, and then it gets fucking wrecked, because these are the ones you watch get messed up by the Greyzine. And yeah, these have a couple of weird weapons going on, so I'll get a little closer just to get better quality of them. So we've got a 130mm assault rifle here. It's a new design. This thing is wild because it's got, like, what is going on with, like, the front of that? As in, what is all that? Because that looks like that would be, like, a foldy handle or something, right?
Yeah, it does.
But, and not only that, I think this also has a sliding, action going on, because if you look at the top here, it's got, like, a rail mechanism going on there, right? Like, with the way that is, so that feels like that would be, like, for moving part. This is a weird gun. It's a weird-looking gun. And it doesn't have a banana clip, it's got a more standard clip. It is at a slight angle, and it just kind of plugs into the bottom of the gun.
I mean, if just the bolt reciprocates without the whole... Stupid hand. The whole thing going along with it, that's not that weird.
Okay. I just... It's weird for Gundam, right? Is the thing I would say.
It's unusual for Gundam, for sure.
And then it's got, what would that be on the front? Because that's not, like... What is, like, that kind of barrel style? Like, when it gets, like, thick at the very end like that? Is that a muzzle... That's not a muzzle brake, right?
It's not a muzzle brake. It's just, it's just a barrel.
Just a barrel? Okay. I didn't know if there was a specific term for when they have the barrels that have the thicker ends like that. Okay.
A lot of barrels that, like, deliberately protrude do get a little thicker at the end.
Okay.
That, like, the way it does so very bluntly is, like... I feel like shows up more in anime than in real life, though it does happen in real life, but...
Okay. Then we have the handgun, the 80mm handgun, and this looks like a fucking Armored Core weapon. I love it. It uses a similar...
It's a little absurd.
It uses a similar clip design, as the assault rifle, though obviously it's got smaller ammunition going on in it. It's very boxy. It's got this, like... I don't know what this stock is. Why is it like this weird upward stock?
I think it's just like a chest brace, basically.
Yeah. It's so weird. This is, at the bottom here, by the way, this is for collecting the shells. Do you know why? Because Teiwaz doesn't... The Rouei is, designed as it is to not look like the other Teiwaz suits, because they don't want them to know they're supporting Tekkadan. So, this actually keeps the bullet cases, inside of here, so that they can't be traced to being used, like, ones manufactured by Teiwaz.
I see.
Which is goofy.
Sure.
That's why it's got this, like, weird design for all this. And I guess maybe even for back there, it's so funny that it just tries to keep the case inside of it. And yeah, it's just so weird. Like I said, though, you see what I mean when I say this looks like an armored core pistol, right? Just because, like, the boxiness of it.
Yeah.
What a weird gun. And then finally, for its melee weapon, we've got the heavy club, which is exactly what it says it is. It is a large club. It's sort of a predecessor to the Shiden's bat. It's a large cylinder with thick armor at the end that is meant for bludgeoning, and it's got, like, grooves on it, for doing more damage. Rather than just being, like, a normal solid bat or solid piece of metal. It apparently contains a free heavyweight that uses the centrifugal force of an attack to move to the top part of the club, which maximizes the damage. So I guess, like, that's the other reason it's got this design, is it has a weight in there that tries to keep at the top, so that when it swings, it will always do, like, the maximum force of damage, which is actually that's pretty cool. And then the handle is telescopic, so the handle can slide in. So when it's kept on the back skirt, the handle, tucks in. And yeah, it's a fucking weird machine. It's also these side skirts. So you see these side skirts right here. A fun thing about them, they can hold pockets to carry more ammo. It has optional little pockets that can attach to it.
Sure.
On the bottom.
Okay.
Well, because that's where you're putting the magazines.
That is where I am putting the magazines. You caught me.
Yeah.
I was trying to get away with it, but I can never sneak one past you.
Shush you. Smart ass. Okay, yeah, actually the black and white art for the bat actually shows the weight in there. You can see it, like, there's the free floating weight there that is meant to, when being swung, swings to the top. Which makes sense, because, centrifugal force, you would swing that, and then that would go out. So.
Sure.
It's fun.
It would feel weird in your hands, but I suppose it would probably...
I mean, it's a mobile suit. You're not feeling it with your hands.
I guess that's true.
That's the thing. Yeah, I don't know. I like this machine quite a bit, personally. I think it's weird.
I like the Hyakuren more, but the Rouei is pretty cool.
Yeah. It's just a fucking weird machine. In all the way. All the, like, considerations for the weapons, like, make sense when you explain them, but are so weird. Like, oh, we need a gun that can collect the bullet casings because we don't want, we don't want people to see that. We don't want them to know that Teiwaz is helping out Tekkadan. Also, that's why it's called the Rouei, because Rouei means, like, as the wiki puts it, it can mean, like, leaked shadow. So, it is. Sure. It is a little shadow unit, which is it's really funny. The whole precedent of this machine is really funny to me. They're like, well, fuck, we really want to help them, but for political reasons, we can't make it look like we're supporting this PMC, so we have to make a new set of armor and disguise it and just be like, well, it's someone who bought the frame from us, but we don't know who's using it. But don't worry, we're not done with weird fucking machines related to this, because now it's time for, from IBO Gekko, I believe, time for the Triaina.
I was really worried that we were done. Thank God.
Or the Triaina, sorry. Look at this fucking...
What the fuck?
Yeah, the Triaina.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is from IBO Gekko. It is a customized machine, based on the Hyakuren. Obviously, it's not operated by Teiwaz, it's by someone who just bought it. It is made to do hit and run tactics. It was made to assassinate it was used to assassinate someone. His name was.
Were they trying to like sneak into a circus?
Well, yeah, I don't know what the guys. Well, given that it's a mob story shit, I think it's meant to look like a fucked up circus mob story. It doesn't.
It looks like a clown.
It does, but it also has a fedora.
It does have a fedora. Okay, sorry, it looks like a ringmaster. That's the real thing.
Well, it has a fedora and a switchblade, by the way, if you didn't notice that's what that knife is.
I did. It's stupid, so I didn't want to say anything.
So, to describe this design, starting with the head, so it is a very similar head to the Hyakuren and the Rouei, but it has, for the upper half, it's got the same jaw and chin piece, but the upper half is overtaken by mostly black parts that form a little hat. It's also got these deep wedges in the front, in the front middle of it. You also have these little visible red cheek vents on the side of the face. This has it also has enhanced sensors, so I believe that given the way that there are gaps inside of the hat and whatnot here, I'm wondering if these are all for sensors and whatnot, like eyes, the gaps. Specifically the gaps, not the shape. The shape is just, it looks like a fucking hat. The torso, when we get to it, another variation on the Hyakuren torso. It's a bit more rounded along the top middle section, but it still has a top middle section with a little triangular piece in the middle that then has two wedges going from front to back. The collar pieces have, similar to the hat, these deeply inset grooves in them, which is interesting. And then for the lower torso, the door is red. You've got the visible frame as per usual. The shoulders, this is actually the part of the design I think is really cool. Unfortunately, on the design I think is really dumb looking for the most part, but I like these shoulders a lot. So for the shoulders, you have these really big rounded armor pieces that, the base of them is white, and then it, you have a ring of white around the base of the shoulder. It protects the front of the bicep area, and has a little thruster in it. Then you have red armor coming out of the side of it, and in the side of it, much like the Hyakuren, it's got one of those cylinders, the big shoulder cylinders plugged into it, just in the side here. I'm wondering if those are just Shinohara's way of doing propellant tanks, basically. Just given that they are typically located where they're thrusters.
I guess.
Yeah.
Tiny propellant tanks.
Then you've got, the red armor on the shoulder then has a large overhang that goes further down than the bicep. It actually goes all the way down to the forearm. Has some black parts on the outside. Again, more of that heat sink look to them. You've got these deep grooves inside of the black armor there. The arms end up being basically the front of them. You've got the armor on the front that's the same, but the back of the armor has more of those grooves. And then the forearms, when you look at them from the front, look like the Hyakuren, but instead of having a piece that plugs in, again, it's the grooves. This motherfucker loves his heatsink grooves in this, whoever customized this suit. When we hit the waist, the crotch piece is actually very similar to the Hyakuren's. It's got the same, groove in the middle of it. And then you've got the big wedges. Instead of the rounded side skirt armor, you now got more of a, it's a thinner plate of armor. It still goes down pretty far, just not as rounded and doesn't go as far out as the Hyakuren's. Has more of those black armor with the grooves in them. Then as you hit the rear skirt, you've got a thicker rear skirt. It does have the big boxy middle, thruster part, like the Hyakuren has. And then it's got more of the heatsink parts in it. As we hit the legs, the thighs, thick thighs, heatsink grooves in them. Again, just wedges of this black armor in there. Weirdly, this has a much less pronounced, knee joint thing going on, so then the leg looks really weird, the connection here between, the upper and lower, legs. Just because you don't have, a large knee piece in between, you just got this big empty space here. Visible joint, still has the hexagonal thrusters on the back like the Hyakuren. actually has some bare frame on the sides of the armor, so, like, the armor thins out so much as you go down that it eventually just gives way to the actual inner frame there. And then you've got, on the very front, more of that grooved black armor. Finally, for the feet, grooved black armor for the top toe piece, and then just red sole and heel pieces on there. And then the backpack is the exact same as the Hyakuren. This is a stupid machine, and I kind of like it, even though it's really stupid. I mean, the Callisto is a much... not in this episode. We talked about this on the Hyakure episode, because it's, again, a mix of both. I think this suit is a way cooler, weird MSV suit by Shinohara, compared to the Triaina. The Triaina was made specifically to assassinate VIPs, so humans. It was made to kill people. The knife is called the Maniago knife. They're stored in the sides of the shoulder armor, and they are little switchblades. They're little foldy switchblades. The way that they... There's a ridiculous amount of detail inside of the shoulders that he drew here, by the way, just for showing how these silly little switchblades fit in there. Just showing all this cutaway. But yeah, no, it's just a little switchblade.
Yeah, it is that.
I
don't know. I don't know why this fucking crossbone ghost ass shit is in my life right now.
It was in Gekko. It assassinated a guy, or was supposed to assassinate someone. It was defeated by the Astaroth, and then the pilot immediately committed suicide.
Was it defeated by the Astaroth looking at it? Like, this thing's...
Oh!
Also... I'm gonna stop whining.
Also, because I had ventured this guess on a different set of notes, yes, the front of the hat is a bunch of sensors that run down the grooves there. You can see them up there.
Okay.
So, that's kind of fun. I like this machine in its absurdity, but I don't actually like it enough to defend it. I understand anyone hating it. It has grown on me because of how absurd it is.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. What was that one tweet about people using fair enough recently? Sorry, because I use it too, but it just made me laugh because I just thought of that.
I don't know this tweet.
Oh, hold on.
So.
Oh right, it was. Sorry, it was the tweet that I just happened to see the other day, which was the, you have mentally dominated a white dude if he ends the conversation with fair enough, which just made me laugh. Which, not all the applicable parts there, but does feel like you were saying it in a defeated way.
It's just kind of like, I have decided, there's nowhere to go with this, right? It's just like...
the thing is, we ultimately agree.
I have been convinced of nothing.
We agree it's dumb. We both agree it's dumb, it's just whether we like it or not, right? Like, that's the thing. It's ultimately, there's not much of a conversation to be had. Well, but with that, we will have covered all of... Well, wait, did we do a Shiden episode? I think we did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we must have.
So we've talked... Yeah, we did do the Shiden, okay. So yeah, with this, we will have talked about all the Teiwaz frame suits, I believe.
I guess.
What do you mean, I guess?
Don't you feel like you're forgetting something?
What am I forgetting? I'm in my IBO book right now. Teiwaz frame. It starts with the Hyakuren, then it goes to the Rouei, then the Triaina, then it goes to the Hyakure, and then the Callisto, and then the Hekaja, and then it goes...
It sounds like your book sucks shit.
Okay, what am I missing? Am I missing something that comes later in this book, probably? I am missing the shit from the mobile game! Fuck! Right, this book came out before the mobile game. To be fair, that mobile game was in development for fucking years! And it's already dead.
Uh-huh.
Don't worry, that...
Yeah, you are missing the Atra Hyakka.
I forgot about this thing.
How could you?
How could I? Did IBOG have...
They do not have the back of it on the Gundam Wiki. Also, their image is not. You know what? I might...
Wait.
But anyway...
The Gundam Wiki does have the rear
website...
shot.
Does it? It doesn't want to... Okay, whatever. My brain died. Whatever. Okay, yeah, I was getting it from the games website anyway. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Now, I'm double checking. Okay, yes, this is still the only Teiwaz frame suit in the game. Good. Because I was like, wait a minute. Wait, no, hold on. Are they separating IBO G? Hold on, let me look up IBO, Urderhunt. Because, does Urderhunt have... No, Urderhunt does also have a Teiwaz suit, right? Fuck.
Okay.
Well, first we'll talk about this. Yes, so, this was made by Atra in the simulator. It's actually a fun, cute little side episode, where, the main characters of, if I remember right, the main characters of... Or at least one of the main characters of Urderhunt ends up basically meeting with Teiwaz during, like, a downtime bit of, like, the actual show. And so, they're doing, like, you know, they're doing simulation battles. And both Atra and, Kudelia make their own suits for the silly little simulation battle. And instead of making normal suits, they both make different weirdos. Completely different ways, though. It's not the same. They're both completely different ways. And Amita's is this one. Or, Atra's is this one. It is a lot. It is a lot.
Yeah.
It is ostensibly, it's very Hyakuren-esque. The head has the additions of little bunny ears on the side, is what they feel like. One of them has a little ribbon on it.
Well, it's a pretty big ribbon.
Well, yeah.
Not huge, but it's decent sized.
For the torso, the triangle has been replaced with a little embedded heart, and also there's extra armor added around that, like, the big wedges of armor around the front in order to make it look like a bow on the front of the outfit, which is really cute, actually. Now that I realize that's what it's going for, I like that. It's very cute and fun. Around the back, also, that little piece that goes around the neck actually has two little angel wings and two little thrusters at the bottom of them, which is very fun. The shoulder armor has removed the cylinders from the top. They're a bit thicker. They have, like, these little, like, pink, like, shiny parts in there of armor. And then these little, like, black parts going around the cuff area there. Still has this thick, like, a pink brick of armor at the base, too, which is fun. So it's still very armored. The arms are actually identical to the Hyakuren's arms. The waist is mostly similar, though the bottom of the crotch piece has this little white, like, decoration on it. The side skirts are a little longer. These look very... I'm wondering who did this art, because the design of these side skirts and the way these thrusters are actually feels very, Ippei to me, more so than Shinohara. Funnily enough. Well, just, like, the way that, like, the thrusters are drawn and colored and stuff.
No, you're right. You're right.
The side skirts are pointier than the Hyakuren's. They end in a point, and they have large thrusters on the sides of them. So this actually does have thrusters instead of the punch knuckles. And then the rear skirt is really large in comparison to the original. It has some vents in it, bright pink around the edge trim of it. The other interesting thing is it has a large teddy bear that looks like it would be its own independent machine of some sort. I think these are thrusters, because they look the same as those. I wonder if these are, like, movable skirt thrusters, like it can move the arms and legs for that.
Seems like it.
Amazing. And then, the thighs are basically the same design as the Hyakuren. They're still really thick. The lower leg armor is very different, because these are almost just the it's basically almost down to the bare frame of the Teiwaz frame there. Very thin armor. You do have the thrusters coming out of the back of the leg still. And then the feet don't even have armor. It's like that's the frame's heel. That's not even like a armored heel. And then you've got a little bit of armor around, like, the front of the foot toe area, but that's it. And then the two thrusters on the backpack are the same design. And her melee weapon is a large glaive. It's like a two-handed glaive of some sort. This is so goofy, but it's goofy in a fun way, unlike... Well, okay, I like the Triaina, but I assume you like this more than that. You think...
Yeah, no, this is actually, like... You know, also, you know, the fact that it doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
But this is actually fun.
Well, and it's fun, right? Because, you know, she's playing it as a game, and so she just makes a customized, you know, goofy little mobile suit. The funny thing with Kudelia is then you have Kudelia make hers, and hers is, like, a different nerdy idea on how to make a mobile suit by someone who doesn't pilot, because, you know, Atra and Kudelia both are not pilots. Yeah, Kudelia is like, oh, I need to be really defensive, so I need to have armor, but also I want to have weapons for every situation, so I've got to have the Gatling guns on the back, and I've got to have, you know, she respects Mika, so she has, like, the Mika's mace, but also she's like, well, the arms can still fit shields, so then she puts shields on the arms. It's so funny how it's, like, two completely different ideas of making a mobile suit in a weird way by a civilian, and I like both attempts, because, I mean, that's the thing, right? Some may argue, I don't like that the girl makes the girly mobile suit, but to be fair, it matches Atra's character, right? Atra's a peppy, nice girl. She's not a pilot or anything. She's just, you know, hanging out with them, because she hung out with the guys that were, you know, she hung out with the guys that were doing the work, at the PMC, and her boyfriend's there, and so she's there, you know? Meanwhile, Kudelia being like, I'm the politician and I need to be protected. How do I make the ultimate mobile suit that can do everything? Takes a man roadie and just covers it in spikes and turns it into Bowser. It's so good.
She does do that.
I love both of the machines a lot. I had to bring up that one too, because I mean, they both come up in the simulation battle, so it's fun. And yeah, so there's that. I guess we will talk about... So this is a weird machine. There's a machine in IBO... Oh, the wiki has terrible art of this, but don't worry, I know where to get good art of it. MAHQ, I believe, actually does have the art of this machine. It definitely has the better quality art, yes. Okay, cool. Now, do we have the regular one? Hold on. Hakugo Gundam. Because there's actually two Hakugos. There's the Commander type and the regular one. We didn't have the regular one's art for a while, but we do now. But I don't know if anywhere has that on it. Huh, hold on. Give me 1 second. Checking the Erder Hunt website, because I think it may have been put on to... Fucking hell. The Erder Hunt website is not valid anymore, right? Because they probably put it on a new... They probably put it on a new thing. Okay, yes, here it is. No, that's not it. Never mind. Is it on the Iron-Blooded Orphans website now that it's an animation project, I wonder? Give me 1 sec, I'm sorry. I really want to find the regular Hakugo as well, because the Commander is cool, but we've got to talk about everything. Okay, yes, good. The Erder Hunt is on just the G Teketsu website. Cool. So if we go to this... website. It is loading. Mobile suit. Oh, it's like they even did a completely new website. That's funny. Yes. Okay. Good. They do actually have it on their new website. I'm going to take screenshots because it's one of those things where they don't let you right click. But here we are. Besides, it's at the full resolution anyway. So, the Hakugo. This is used by a different group in, because, you know, Teiwaz is, the thing about Teiwaz is it's not just the turbines. Even though they're, like, the turbines are the point, or the turbines are the point of contact we have in the show, they are not the only group under Teiwaz. Teiwaz is a large, mafia-like criminal organization. Well, sorry, legitimate organizations with lots of, criminal organizations within them. And so, one of the characters in Iron-Blooded Orphans Erder Hunt is Tamami Rako and her crew. She runs the Rako Pirates, which are an all-female pirate group, and these are the mobile suits that her group uses. So, it's the Hakugo. The Hakugo is a machine that was sort of meant to do both, like, Earth and space combat. It is, an interesting machine, so I'll describe it, because it's kind of unique compared to all the other Teiwaz suits. But it's one of those ones where it wouldn't really make its own episode, so, yes, we'll bring it up here, just to finish off the Teiwaz suits. The head is... The armor for the head around the back is mostly plain. It's rounded around the top and the sides, and then, you know, For the front, you have inset into the face a lot of white armor. It's got a large white chin piece that juts out forward, and then the eye area is like, there's just a large white horn that goes all the way up and pops up above the head. And it's just embedded in the face and the, like, the eye area. I don't know if, like, it's just not using visible sensors or what, but there are no visible sensors, basically, on the head here. It has, if you look at the torso here, we've got a big, thick wedge of armor around the front. It's almost like a little platter that is pinched in the middle for the armor on the front of the torso there. It's got some armor popped up around the collars on either side, and then also below it's got this popped down bit of armor that has intakes on it. And you can see the Teiwaz cockpit there. Now, I will say, I have to say Teiwaz in quotes, because kind of like how the Shiden's frame is just the Teiwaz frame, but slightly altered, and also because people aren't supposed to know it's Teiwaz, it's marketed as a different thing. Like in that one, it's the EO frame. This one, we don't know what frame this is. This is clearly the Teiwaz frame, though, right? But again, Teiwaz does not take credit for the operation of pirates that they are supplying to, for sure. So, anyway, I had to mention it because it is a technicality that this is listed as Teiwaz frame ? And I'm annoyed by that because I'm like, come on. Anyway, so you have the bare cockpit on the front, you have the same, pistons going into the waist and everything. For the arms, much like all the other Teiwaz frame suits, go out pretty far. You've got pretty typical shoulder armor. It's not as weird as any of the other machines, like the Hyakuren and Hyakuri and whatnot. Just some orange armor around the base, and then the armor is a bit more of a tannish brown on the outside. Then for the bicep, above the bicep, you don't actually have any armor covering the joint. And then, so you have a lot of visible, arm joint there. And then you have the bicep. The bicep is set up the same way as the Teiwaz frame, where you've got the, armor, some armor on the front and armor on the back. No plug in the back. However, this does have much thicker elbow armor than the Hyakuren, etc. So it actually has, proper elbow armor. Still really thin joint going on there. And then for the forearm, you've got also kind of thin armor. You can see that this is just the inner frame basically there around the wrist area, and it's just thin around the edges. You get some panel lines, but again, very just functional armor. You get a wrist cuff right before the wrist, and the hands, funnily, because of how thin this machine is, it has the opposite effect of the Hyakuren, where these hands look kind of big because the arm is so thin in comparison. For the waist, you've got a crotch piece of armor that has a single square thruster on the bottom of it. No real front skirts or anything. You've got some side skirts on the that kind of just protect a little bit around the sides, but again, they're very open. They do have plugs on the sides of them that I presume are just hard points for fitting weapons onto. And then for the rear skirt, you've got a blocky rear skirt that is basically an array of thrusters. I believe it's one big middle one similar to the Hyakuren, and then it's got these two smaller ones around the side, along with this little brick of armor along the top of it. For the legs, really interesting shape going on with the legs here. Lots of armor protecting the thigh around the front. However, the back is actually just bare frame. You can actually see that also the sides of the joint are all bare frame as well. The knee is interesting because this one, it's not even connected to the thigh or the calf. The knee is connected into the front of the frame here. So, weird knee armor again, but it does protect, the front of the frame. It does also really emphasize the weird, shape of the Teiwaz frame legs there because of, how much of an arc this knee has. And then for the calves, you've got, a little base piece of armor where that the knee is connected into. You've got some little thrusters around the side, as well as on the back. You've got a large fernier on the back. You've got more of the bare frame just visible down the back of the calf there. The armor does have some sort of ankle armor protecting the connection of the foot. The feet then are interesting because you've got white armor at the base, and you have these really weird toes. And these have a weird these have a good reason for why they're designed this way. These flip open into claws. The heels pop down, and then it's got a middle toe, like, you know, the middle toe piece is like a single claw, and it's folded back right now. And then these heels are 2 claws that are folded forward into being, you know, the toes there. And finally, for the backpack, you've got kind of a more shockingly standard backpack, like just 2 thrusters on there. It does have that bar of armor going around the top, kind of like the Hyakuren does. And it does have, like, the Ahab reactor visible in the middle there. And yeah, this is a fucking weird-looking machine. I kind of like it, because it is meant to be... The Hyakuren and such... The Hyakuren is a very armored suit, right? This is more like the Hyakuri, where... Because the Hyakuri actually has, like, on the legs, like, a lot of the bare frame and whatnot as well. Because, you know, it's thin. And this is meant to be just, like, a good, lightweight, solid performance machine. And I think it's really cool.
I feel like without armaments, the design is weird enough that I feel like its weapons would help me understand if I like its vibe or not.
Okay. Well, one of its weapons, which is from in-game, is it does have a large club, as can be seen here. Which makes sense. Okay. It is called the Moth Mace.
Okay.
The mace can apparently... these parts on the side can open up like an anchor, by the way, so it can also...
Dylan.
Into them. Yeah?
I'm noticing some differences.
This is the commander type, yes. And so we'll...
I see.
I don't have art of the regular one in the game, because... So, the weird thing was the commander type was the one we had art for the longest time. And even though the regular ones were in the game and in cutscenes, we never had the art of it. I don't think the art popped up until the new Urder Hunt website, which is probably why MAHQ also doesn't have the new art of the regular version here. Just to show it, because it'll help for comparison, here's the Commander version, which is used by, I'm spacing on her name, but the, Tamami.
Dr. Mario.
Tamami.
Damn.
And you can see hers, yes, hers has some additions. The head has a commander antenna that goes up much higher. It's just like a big blade in the head. And then the other addition is the shoulder armor now has these, instead of having the brown caps at the end, it has a slightly different armor that is more open at the bottom and then has these large movable little, flaps inside of there. Which I do like the commander one more overall in terms of the shape, because I like these, I mean, you know me, I like hangy bits on the shoulders like that, so I think this is cool. But yeah, so that's both designs. Sorry. Anyway, the weapons, though, include, the quote-unquote moth mace. I assume it's called a moth because it opens up like a moth does? I don't know. Like the moth opening its wings? I don't know. But apparently, the idea with this mace is that these, like, wedge parts are meant to pop open. And it describes them as quote-unquote like an anchor.
Sure.
Then, it mentions a knuckle guard and an 80mm handgun. I am wondering if the 80mm handgun and knuckle guards are the same weapons that are used by the Hyakuren and the Rouei. Because the Rouei uses an 80mm handgun. And actually thinking on it, if this is meant to be Teiwaz but not visibly Teiwaz and using stuff from Teiwaz, it probably is using the handgun that doesn't leave behind shell casings. So, yeah. I wish we had more pictures of it doing actions, right? I wish I had, like, pictures of it doing the feet. I think the design is a cool-looking design, but yeah, unfortunately, it only existed in a mobile game, in some animations, and then the mobile game is dead. So until Urder Hunt actually comes out, we don't really have much on this, unfortunately. I like this machine quite a bit, though. I will say the game did reveal something to me, which is the camera on this unit is, if you look around the base of where these connect into, these darker orange parts, I think those are the cameras, like the darker orange parts in between, because you can see in the game they light up.
That does make sense.
Yeah, so these are actually, like, all the cameras going around the face there. Which is also weird, but kind of cool. Like I said, I like this machine's design. I wish we had more on it. Hopefully, whenever they finish the Urder Hunt OVA, we get more details on it, because it's a cool suit that, may as well not exist, because now it's in a dead mobile game.
Yeah, I don't love it, but it's solid.
Yeah, I think it's a fun little friend. Alright, well, and then that's that for all the Tewa suits, finally. Yay!
Yay.
So now we have done all of them.
Okay.
And yeah. So, 6, where can people find you? Oh! Shit! Sorry, before I do that, just at the very end here, just to show it real quick. I meant to show these earlier, and I got caught up in talking about the Rouei and whatnot. Here's some early concept art of the Hyakuren. Just different shapes of it. It's so funny, because you can actually see, like, shapes that he will reuse later, like with the head and whatnot, which is very funny to me. Just different variations on trying to make the same design, which I find it very interesting, because it's unique. It's unique. Oh, one other early one. This one's wild, by the way, because look at the fucking imprint on the shoulder. It's got, like, the cloud, like, a cloud decal on the shoulder. They're, like, the swirly, Japanese art style clouds going on.
Uh-huh. Huh.
And it's also got this
cool.
gigantic fucking rifle. Big rifle there. Still has the very distinct shapes, though. Oh, one more set of, for the Rouei, because the Rouei is meant to be hiding that it's a Hyakuren. I like the one that just decides, what if we make the armor look more like knight armor instead of Japanese armor? That's how we'll prove it's not Teiwaz. We'll make it look more like military armor and knight armor.
Sure.
Well, yeah. Well, because I'm assuming that's the thing, right? Because Teiwaz, in spite of being a mafia, as I call it, is very much, like, a Yakuza, actually. They have all kinds of, like, very,
there's Japanese shit everywhere.
Yeah, they're wearing, yukatas, and they have to do, like, they have, like, the teacup, like, the tea breaking ceremony and whatnot. It feels very Japanese tinged for a lot of their, aesthetics. In spite of also being very mafia tinged, because the guy is just, like, a Godfather mafia guy.
I mean, I hate to tell you something about, I was gonna push back on this, but, like, no, he's got, like, the hat and shit. No, you're right. You're right.
Well, and then, like, look at for the turbines, you look at, the guy wears a white suit and a fedora and stuff, and a scarf.
Yeah.
Like, that's very mafia.
Naze is very,
more so than...
Yeah, you're right.
One other early Rouei with a crazy head here. That version with the even bigger hat.
I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, you didn't see that? Hold on. Here. Do you see it now?
That's not... On my end, you are posting the sketch of the mecha over and over. I'm going to refresh and see if it helps.
It should be labeled Rouei 3. Rouei Concept 3.
Oh, yes.
And then it's got...
Sorry, for some reason, I was expecting you to be posting a picture of Naze and his stupid hat.
No. I was talking about the head on this being wild, because look at this thing. Look at this stupid hat.
Yes, that is a again, very Warframe head there.
Yeah, it's fun, but yeah, I know. Anyway, apologies for having to add that to the end, but yeah, Shinohara's an interesting guy. I'm wondering what... He doesn't really work on a lot of stuff. The main thing I knew him for, besides IBO, is, he did the designs for, Wings of Reen, which, you know what Wings of Reen is, right?
I remember the name, but that's it.
It is Dunbine before Dunbine. So Wings of Reen was the original Byston Wells story that was by Tamino. That was not a mecha thing. And then they asked, hey, do you want to make us an anime based on your fictional location, but we do want it to be a mecha thing, so then he made Dunbine. Then in the 2000s, he later made an OVA, or ONA maybe, he made like a small series that was a CG animated one, called The Wings of Reen, that then added mecha to the story of Wings of Reen. In the usual Tamino fashion of, I am doing an adaptation of my book which is itself which is taking cues from a different adaptation of the book. And Shinohara did the designs in that, and the designs are, I think the CG doesn't look great on them. I am a defender though of the actual art of the designs as they are in Shinohara's art. I mean, it's done by, and so they are bugs. Here's like the Nanajin, which is the main design.
It's a cool looking bug, though.
Yeah, they are bugs. I think they look a lot better in the art than they do in CG, because it turns out, I think using cel-shaded CG for Insectoid Mecha in the 2000s just doesn't look all that great. Just makes them...
Oh, that does look weird.
It makes them just look kind of like bad PS2 assets. like not in-game, but like for cutscenes.
Very toyetic.
Yeah, they're very... The colors also just do not work in 3D, I think.
I realize we use toyetic in a lot of ways in mecha design. What I mean is they literally look like physically vinyl toys.
Yeah. Which is just a shame when the early designs were... the early designs really leaned in on the bugginess, too. Like, this is an early version of that. And it's got, like, the fuzzy joints and stuff. And a lot of that is lost in the CG and the later art, unfortunately. Anyway, that's the other thing I know Shinohara for, though, is doing Wings of Rain's weird designs, which, he's got a very organic design structure to him, which is why him being on IBO is fun, because IBO is probably, like, one of the more mecha-y ones, like, just robotic mecha-y ones, because of the nature of, like, the frames and whatnot. So it's fun getting a guy who normally is drawing, like, very monstrous weirdo guys to do it. Something in IBO should have a mouth that opens like the Nanajin's weird little mouth parts there. Look at that. It's fucking cool.
That's fun, yeah.
Also, I like bugs, so... I admittedly know that I'm the weird person in the audience who, I know there are people who hate bugs. I think they are cowards, but it's fine. Anyway. That's what I knew him from, though. Just wanted to mention that, too. So, Six, where can people find you online?
You can find me on the internet.
On the internet? Okay.
Uh-huh. What about you, Dylan? Where are you?
I'm on Busky, at Low Poly Robot.
That's pretty weird.
Yeah. What do you mean that's weird? Hold on. Something I'm not... What are you doing?
No, I'm just in a weird mood. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, did I stretch the episode too long?
No, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out.
Peace.